Why, hello there. Hey guys, welcome back. It's Dirty H here again with episode 6 of New Zealand, and wow, episode 6 already. It has just flown by. It's been really fun, and I gotta say, I am super stoked with the city so far. Your comments especially have brought a smile to my face. They've given me inspiration. They've spurred me on to carry on and filled me full of confidence, so thank you guys so much. And one of my main goals when I started this series was I wanted to create a city with real culture and with a real feel, and we can put down our streets and put our train tracks down and put our buildings up, but creating a city with culture is a very different thing. And I really feel like I'm getting somewhere with this city. So anyway, that's enough of hoo-ha. And what we did in the last episode was we expanded on our lower commercial down by the waterfront and added a lot more detailing in. So we start by expanding even further on that, and these main roads here are running straight into downtown, and there's two here in particular that are going to have heavy use in future. So these roads naturally are going to have more commercial down them than residential. And as close as this area is going to be to downtown when this is all built out, I have still got residential blocks in here as well, because we do see residential blocks close to downtown in large cities in New Zealand, and I think this is just going to help make it stick a little bit closer to that realistic feel that we're going for. The finer details I add in this area are basically just car parks, vehicles, trees and some fences, and then I can move on to building something I'm really excited about. There is a really cool contemporary style walkway over a main road in Wellington called the City to Sea Bridge, and that's where I've taken 90% of my inspiration for this area. And I guess I'm adding it in because it really just looks interesting, to be quite honest, and it makes this area here look really interesting. Again, it hasn't followed the blueprint of the real life one 100%, more or less just taken inspiration from the design of it. And it kind of takes me back a little bit to the park that I built for Prez for Columbia City. If you guys seen that episode, that was also a contemporary style park, but that was based off parks in the Seattle and Portland area obviously. But the point is, the contemporary style parks are really fun to make. I'm a big fan of architecture and design, and it really allows me to sort of freely express design, and I really enjoy that. So if you guys want to see that episode with Prez, just quickly dropping back to that, I'm pretty sure it was episode 40 of Columbia City. It's called Yesler Park, and it's a really cool episode. He had some mountain biking tracks in. Go and check it out if you haven't seen it. There's some really cool shapes made out of concrete and timber that are on the part of the walkway that spans over the road, and there's a couple in particular that look like a big whale's tail, and whales quite often come in the harbour into Wellington, so I've found this asset that sort of looks a little bit like a whale's tail. I didn't want it to look exactly like it is still an artistic impression of it, so I've put them up here on the side of the bridge, and I reckon it looks pretty cool. Just another little point of difference. So with the rest of the waterfront here, I put in a really small beach between the jetty and the point of the road where it turns and goes south, and instead of going with a really nice clean fancy looking coast along here, which was very tempting, again I've gone for a more rugged, sort of a realistic look, sort of a imperfection is perfection type of thing. But don't get me wrong, we will have our fair share of fancy looking coasts, but I think it's probably going to be closer to downtown, and there is a section of the coastline between where we are here and where the port / downtown is going to be, but I've got big plans for that. I'm waiting on Altagaz to create me an asset, and that's going to be in a future episode, so no spoilers here. So I finish the end of the walkway coming over the road here onto a small dock / waterfront, and there's a little coffee shop here, and it also creates some stairs here, and I wanted the slime on the stairs to help create realistic looking stairs going into the water. So what I've done is I've used networks for the stairs so that decals work on them, and I am so pleased with how it comes out. It does look really realistic, and it is again just another little point of difference. Ooh, how I love me a bit of nature detailing, and I've decided to remodel somewhat the side of the very first river I put in episode 1 here, and just put larger cliffs in using the mossy rocks from Grey Flame, and then I turn them back and run them up the edge of the river. And I guess I've decided to do this because I wanted this river to look like it was carving an actual sort of valley down the side of the hill. It looks more realistic than just a river on the side of the hill. And I've raised the terrain up to the top of the highest cliff so that I can run the trees in, and it looks really cool. I'm very pleased with it, and it adds to the backdrop of the city and definitely makes it look more realistic. I've got this other river that branches off in a different direction, and I wanted to create a classic Kiwi swimming hole at one point in the river, so I've chosen this bit where it forks off here. This is perfect really. I can't speak for all Kiwis, but growing up in New Zealand, having the local watering hole where you could go swimming with your mates and have an ice cream on the side of the bank after you finish was pretty staple really. And I was pretty excited about building this area because I had a pretty clear picture in my mind, obviously with all of that in mind, of exactly what I wanted to build, or more importantly the vibe that I was going for with the area. And unfortunately, because the theme of the city is Queenstown, the water here is going to be cold enough to freeze the balls off a brass monkey. But yeah, I've really got no choice. I want to put it in. I'm desperate to put it in, so it's going in. And I guess in reality, the water wouldn't be too bad down here in summer. So let's just pretend it's late spring and there's still a bit of snow on the mountain. So as simple as this area is, when it's finished, it is by far my favourite area of the city now. I absolutely love it. It's come out exactly how I wanted it to, and of course it was just so fun to build. We're lucky to have the Steam Workshop and the amazing asset creators that we have on there if you've got the game on the PC. And if you guys aren't familiar with that, I can tell you now that pretty much every tree I'm using here, all of these rocks, all of these really realistic looking props, they're all from this workshop. and they've all been made by someone in their own time with their own resources. I mean, I think that's pretty cool, and I for one am very grateful for that. So with that in mind, a quick tip would be, if you guys are trying to build realistic looking cities, go for the most realistic looking props and assets that you can find on the Steam Workshop, because it makes a huge difference if you've got buildings with really good textures, for instance, and trees much the same. You know, you can get your city layout exactly how you want it, but if you're using terrible buildings that aren't looking realistic in their own right, then you're really not going to achieve what you want to. The other side of it is you don't want to make sure you're downloading assets with a try count that's too high, but generally if you go with trusted Steam creators, you don't have this trouble. Or if you have the ability to read the comments. They'll tell you everything you need to know. I didn't mean to sound like a dick there, that was just a bit of an inside joke. If you know, you know. So thank you guys so much for tuning in again. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If this is the 6th episode of New Zealand that you guys have watched, then pat yourselves on the back. You are choice, mate. So in the next episode, I am working on downtown, which is really exciting. You guys don't want to miss that. So I will see you then. Take it easy.